fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, let us begin. Whenever we last left off, Izuku Midoriya, we just went over the events of what happened with him and his family. But, let me give a brief recap. Izuku Midoriya, whenever he was born, his father, he was there to help. However, the very moment that he held his son and saw his face, he didn't feel proud to be a father. He felt fear. Fear of what this baby could do. And it frightened him. He doesn't know what this child can do, what his quirk could be. As long as it was his own, he might be able to understand it. However, there was what was going on. Midoriya was diagnosed as quirkless at birth, and then there was a strange happenings. The neglect and eventual abuse. Before, Midoriya witnessed his mother's murder, and Asashi was taken away. Now, the police did not know what to do with Midoriya. Inko was basically raised in an orphanage, and she had no parents. And Hisashi, that's a different story. His is a more complicated history. Sometime around whenever he was older, or possibly right before he was going to go to college, he had a falling out with his family. And left. So they can't even get into contact with his family. However, they are aware of what might be going on with their son. Now, with that being said, Mitsuki is currently taking care of Midoriya. And we do have the instance between Katsuki and Midoriya on the playground, where she stood up for him and called him her friend. Now, with that being said, let us cut to around 5 to somewhere around 6 years later. So sometime around where both these two are in between the age of 10 and 11 years old. And we do currently have today with Izuku. He is in class, and he is writing down his notes. As, well, Katsuki, sitting next to him, is trying to pass him a note. Midoriya just looking at it, before quickly putting his pencil down and grabbing it, almost snatching it from her hand, as he then actually does proceed to read it. Now, he does look over at her and give her somewhat of a funny grin, before he does pass his own note back to her. Now, these two do find this to be kind of funny, and somewhat laugh a little bit in class, almost getting pulled out of it by the teacher. Now, at lunch we actually do have Midoriya and her sitting down and eating together, as somebody does actually come walking up. Now, let's say that it's a group of guys from Midoriya's class. All of them somewhat annoyed at Midoriya, asking him why he doesn't just let them copy his homework. Guys, you're not supposed to copy my homework. What was that? I said you're not supposed to copy my homework. Strange. It sounds like you are trying to say something, but I can't quite hear you. Now, Katsuki, she does actually intervene, talking about how he said they can't do that, and that if they want to get smarter, then study for the test, dumbass. Now, this actually did piss off this kid, and the many others. However, Katsuki, or Katsuki, she does reaffirm her statement, an explosion in her hand, and telling Midoriya to do that thing. Midoriya, him getting kind of embarrassed, as he quite simply stands up, and bringing one hand outwards, he grabs the table. No one thinks anything of it, until he's able to lift it with his forearm without even moving his feet. Now, Katsuki, she quite simply just does jump back on the table, and Midoriya's arm doesn't even bend or even waver, basically looking like he locked it in place. All of them looking at Midoriya before he does just let go of the table. And you can hear it thud back down, and Katsuki almost fall out of her seat, quickly recomposing herself before telling them all to piss off, before they quickly do just run. Now, Midoriya, he does find it to be somewhat funny, and she actually does begin to somewhat laugh out loud, telling Midoriya that he really should just, well, go off on people. But I told you, I don't really know how to do that. Oh, come on, Midoriya. I know you're shy and all, but you gotta stand up for yourself. Besides, we're in class together, we're at lunch together, but we don't really hang out a lot after school sometimes. Well, I mean, I do try and stay behind and help the class representatives. Yeah, Midoriya, I get it. Huh. Sometimes you're like a teacher's pet. Hey. Hey, what? I'm not a teacher's pet. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I'm not a teacher's pet. Ooh, sounds like you got a little mad there. Sorry. Midoriya, don't apologize. Listen, I'm just having a bit of fun. You're my best friend, okay? Yeah, okay. So, do you want to hang out after school? Uh, no, I have to stay after class. I need to help them with a bunch of stuff, especially with finals coming up and everything. Whatever. Suit yourself. Now, this is whenever Midoriya, after class is over and school is over, we do have him someone just sitting there at his desk and thinking for a minute. Okay. This has all just been a bit stressful and weird, but I'm just glad today is over. Now, he does go to stand up. And, as he does actually look out the window, seeing as Katsuki is shouting his name, her waving him off and saying that she'll see him at home, before she quickly does just turn and run. Now, Midoriya does find it to be quite interesting, giving somewhat of a smile before he does actually go to say something. However, as soon as he does actually peek out the window, he does see three people immediately run to the gates and look in the direction of Katsuki, or Bakugo. I'm just gonna say Bakugo now, because it's less confusing for me. Anyways, now, Midoriya does pay attention to that, as a group of people do appear outside of the gates, seemingly popping up from behind the wall, as they immediately do give chase in that direction. Now, Midoriya does think about it for a second. What was all that? It was probably nothing. Think about it, you idiot. Huh? Friend. What? Who said that? Friend. Danger. Who's there? This being where somebody does try and snap Midoriya out of his weird fog, asking him if he's alright. Sure. Yeah, I'll be fine. Friend? Danger? Those kids from lunch. Actually, sorry guys, I'm not feeling too well. I gotta go. Midoriya quickly bolting off. The kids in the class, quite surprised. Midoriya didn't stutter whenever he tried saying those words. And he didn't seem scared talking to them. Well, at least not the regulars scared. Now, with that being said, we do cut to Katsuki, or Katsuki. I mean Bakugo, where she is currently running home. Now, she is currently unaware of the people chasing after her, up until she gets a couple blocks away. And we actually do have her getting ambushed. Whenever she is walking down a street, she does see a group of people who are directly in front of her. Her being quite confused by this. Thinking that, okay, so that way is busy. I'll just take the long way home. It's a nice day anyway. As soon as she does actually turn, she's able to spot out of the corner of her eye a lot more people. Now, this is whenever it becomes painfully aware to her what's going on, seeing more people on the street in front of her and behind her. Her being completely surrounded. Now, long story short, villain explanation, my older brother is here to kick your ass type scenario. Anyways, now, eventually we do have Midoriya, who does hear the explosions nearby, and he actually does begin to get somewhat angry. Why would they do that? Why would they go after his friends? Now, with that, Midoriya, he actually does begin to have his eyes turn green, as he turns and starts running. Now, everyone who does see this young boy run past them are quite surprised. Midoriya unaware of what's going on, as he's picking up speed and he's getting faster. Now, by the time Midoriya does actually arrive, he does see what's going on, as we do have Katsuki, who is currently being punched across the face and beaten with, let's say, well, the person's bare hands. Because if I say a metal rod or something, or like that, it's kind of overkill. Anyways, now, the person is using their quirk. Let's say an ice ability to try and mess with her. And they're trying to get a rise out of her. Until one kid does actually spot Midoriya. And we do have him standing there. Midoriya looking at all of them, as the kid who Midoriya scared off did actually turn and see him, quite shocked. Huh, would you look at that? It's little old Midoriya, the bookworm. I didn't know you had a strength quirk. Anyways, once we're done here with your friend, my brother and I are going to handle you. You. Hurts. This being where Midoriya begins to somewhat lose it, taking a few steps forwards. And the kid does actually look a bit closer at Midoriya. Did he get a little bit bigger? No, wait. He looks taller. Buffer, even. And why is his skin turning green? Now, we do actually have Katsuki, or Katsuki, who is able to open her eyes. One of her arms are frozen over, and so is a part of her torso, and her legs are frozen together. So, she's been immobilized, and she cannot use her quirk, since she is not currently producing sweat. Now, she's able to open her eyes and see Midoriya, as he finally does snap. Now, all of Midoriya's pent-up rage manifest, as they watch Midoriya begin to grow in size, and his face goes from just regular anger to somewhat savage, primal, as the person is trying to use their ice quirk and blast out towards Midoriya. who does simply just smash his hand outwards. As soon as he just does wave off this attack with his left arm, he redirects it being sent smashing to the left into a building. As Midoriya, he does run forwards. Now, what is currently happening in his mind? He's semi-conscious as to the situation. However, there is Hulk, the persona he has manifested. A place or a friend. Someone who has been there to help him cope with a lot of things. Currently just focusing on saving their friend. As he does run forwards. And virtually just bat everybody out of the way with one hand. As he picks up Katsuki. And she's quite surprised. Now, she is able to see Midoriya's face, and the look in his eyes. He looks somewhat sad, but still completely enraged. Him turning and looking at them all. Everybody getting ready to try and attack. As Midoriya, he lets out one singular roar that echoes, and can be picked up from around 3 to 4 city blocks in every direction. As he turns and starts running, producing craters as he just simply leaps off. Now, with that Midoriya, he's trying to think. Where is he? He can feel his body moving. He feels virtually weightless. Now, with that, he does actually hear Katsuki's voice. And she's trying to ask Midoriya questions. How did this happen? When could he do this? And looking down at his hands, being surprised, and hearing the Hulk's thoughts in his own head. Hulk always able to do this. Hulk hasn't been outside. Hulk must protect friend. Friend of Hulk. Something very simple. And Midoriya, he's able to turn around and look in front of him. Him looking to see a towering behemoth in front of him. As he drops to his knees and begins to back up. Before he simply just does try and shield himself. As this giant person bends down in front of him and brings their giant hands out. Midoriya just cowering a bit more in fear, asking what that monster is. Before it just tries to explain. Bring one of its giant fingers up and tapping on Midoriya's chest. Midoriya actually at least bringing his hands away, and with tears rolling down his face, looking up at the creature. And he can see its eyes. The eyes of his mother. They look kind, sad, and angry. All at once. Why is that? Now, with that being said, we do actually have on the outside, where Hulk currently does land in front of the apartment buildings. And he actually does set Katsuki down on the ground. Whereas we do have multiple pro heroes currently chasing this villain, wanting to know what the hell happened. They could see it flying around and moving. And eyewitness reports says that it might have attacked children. This villain is unspeakably evil. Now, with that being said, we do actually have Hulk, who is currently just sitting there, trying to find a way to help Katsuki. As she actually is able to turn her wrist and somewhat break it free. Getting it free from the ice her leg was stuck to. Now, she quite simply does bring her hand up and try and wave it in front of her head, before also trying to move it around towards her back, trying to pick up enough heat or sweat. Now, as that does happen, she actually does bring it up to her legs and cause an explosion, as she's able to break it free. However, she is somewhat shivering, talking about how she's very cold. And Hulk is trying to help. How can Hulk help? How can Hulk help? Now, this is whenever pro heroes do arrive, and they do see this hurt young woman in front of the villain, and they immediately order the villain to surrender. Hulk looking up and seeing what's going on, as heroes are on standby along with the police force. Now, with that being said, with all the commotion, a lot of people from the apartment buildings do run out, and they are able to see what's going on, along with Mitsuki, watching as her daughter is basically standing in front of a bunch of pro heroes and police officers, as she does immediately run downstairs, completely shocked by what she sees, as this giant behemoth, even on its knees, is still larger than her, asking what the hell is this, and Katsuki trying to explain that it's Midoriya. She was attacked by people from her school, and he jumped in. He helped save her. Now, with that, she does actually turn around and say, "Right, Midoriya." Hulk. Hmm? I. Hulk. Okay. Hulk. Hulk here helped me. Now, she turns around, walking forwards, and she does bring her hand up onto the Hulk's arm, asking if Hulk can bring Midoriya back. Does he know how to? Now, the Hulk, after a minute of trying to look in its own head, he does actually begin to somewhat shrink, and pro heroes and police officers do watch this happen, as he virtually just shrunk down back into a kid before he did actually somewhat fall over forwards, and they had to help and intervene. Technically, Midoriya did use his quirk without, well, proper reasoning. However, after getting a story, it is able to somewhat be completely pieced together. Midoriya's quirk. Whenever he was enraged, he did something. He found an ability to his quirk that he did not know about. And that must be from Inko's side of the family. So, they do get Midoriya's quirk re-registered. And those kids, they are all kicked out of schools, and one of them do lose, well, their spot in UA. Surprise, surprise, they no longer have that recommendation. Now then, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. I will catch you guys in the next part.